Hi everyone. In this absolutely riveting video, we're going to take a look at using Maven to manage our project dependencies for us. Uh, what is a dependency in a software project? Well, basically, a dependency is other software that our software relies on to do its job. For instance, in this dynamic web project that we're going to be creating, we are going to use somebody else's code to read in an Excel worksheet and basically iterate through that worksheet to print out the rows within it, and that Excel spreadsheet is going to be acting as our database. So again, we want to bring in somebody else's code to do that for us. We do not want to be writing code to open up a workbook, iterate through it. No, we don't want to do that. That would take months. There's no reason for us to actually be writing that. So we'll be using somebody else's code. However, imagine there were many developers on this project. Imagine we had not one programmer, but we had 5 programmers. Well, instead of having everybody go ahead and download this software dependency, what we can do is we can have Maven download that automatically for us. We can tell Maven, hey, go grab this software for us and manage that for us. And this does a couple nice things. One, it does make sure that everybody's using the same version of their software. So we will be using Apache POI to talk to our Excel workbooks. And I could be on version, I don't know, 1 of that. Maybe you would be on version 2. And maybe there are major differences between versions 1 and 2, and we don't want to be dealing with all the different versioning stuff. So if we were using Maven, it would download that automatically for us, and then we would all be on the same page. We would all be on the same dependency versions. And so in big production websites and software projects, you can have a ton of dependencies. It's just easier to use Maven and to have another tool to manage those for us. Maven is a classic one for Java for managing dependencies. There's one like this in pretty much every programming language. In .NET, I believe it's NuGet, N-U-G-E-T. In Python, it's easy install, and PIP. In Ruby, there's gems. So there's an absolute ton of different tools for managing software dependencies. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new dynamic web project, and then we're going to enable it to use Maven. And so again, I'm going to go ahead and boot up Eclipse. Anytime now, Eclipse. There it goes. And I'm going to go ahead, and you can see I've got a couple projects open here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close those. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new dynamic web project. So I'm going to right-click, do new, and it's popping up here automatically for me, dynamic web project. Of course, you can always click other, and you can try to find it. It is under the web folder under dynamic project. So I'm going to click next, and I'm going to give this a project name. I'm not feeling very creative right now. This is going to be a worksheet that reads in information about students, so I'm going to call it students for lack of a better name. Apparently there's already a project there with that name, so I'm going to call it students web project. You might call it just students. I'm going to call it students web project. This is really not a good name. And I'm going to go ahead, I've got multiple runtimes in here from creating other videos. I'm going to go ahead and select this 8.0 runtime. You probably just only have 1 runtime and want to leave it as that. So again, this is kind of artifacts from making videos and all of the practicing I've been doing. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. I'm going to have a source folder. We are going to be adding another source folder, but I'm going to do that not using this tool. We're going to be doing that later. Again, I'm going to call the context root students web project. You probably just want to call it students or similar. We're going to keep our content directory for our static HTML files, our images, our videos, our sounds, our CSS, all that stuff. We'll call that web content. Keep it as the default. And then we're going to go ahead and check this to generate a web.xml deployment descriptor for us. And we're going to go ahead then and click finish. And we'll have created our dynamic web project, and I'll expand this a little bit. Now, to enable Maven in our web project, it's really not too bad. What you can do is you can right-click this. You can try to right-click this. You're going to scroll down to Configure. So again, you're going to right-click the parent directory of your dynamic web project, go down to Configure, and you'll see Convert to Maven project. And I'm going to go ahead and click that. And you're going to see it's going to ask you to create a new POM. And so what Maven will do is it will create a pom.xml file for us. So we're going to go ahead, we'll leave the group ID and artifact ID alone for now, and we'll go ahead and click Finish. Now you can see Maven has gone ahead and added this POM XML file for us. And so it has gone ahead and added that. The main thing I'd like to draw your attention to first are these different drop-down menus. A lot of these we're probably not going to be using. You can go ahead and you could add in information about our project. So it's a student web project. If you had a URL maybe on GitHub or something like that, you could go ahead and add that URL here. You could go ahead and give that project a description. I typically will just ignore this. You could go ahead and give this organization a name. Maybe you go ahead and add CVTC. Maybe you add www.cvtc.edu. Again, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you what Maven will do. So you can go ahead and add that. If you had issue management through Bitbucket or GitHub, you could add that here. You could add a URL. You could add an continuous integration system if you wanted to. So Maven does bring a lot of tools for us. A lot of this I won't be using. You can go ahead and set it up if you want. I typically won't. The main thing to notice, and you might not notice them at first, down here you can actually, there are a couple different tabs that you can click on. And so the main one that I would be using is probably Overview, but the other important one is Dependencies. So under Dependencies, what you can do, and this is amazing, is you can actually click the Add button. And this Add button will go ahead and add in, is a tool to add in dependencies that other software developers have made for us. And so you can go ahead and type in Apache POI. That's the software we're going to be using. And you can see it does take a moment, depending on your internet speed, it can take a moment to download that. And so sometimes it takes a little searching. The Apache library that we want is this Apache org.apache.poi for the organization name, and then the artifact ID is POI-OOXML. That's the one we want. We don't want just the regular POI, we want the XML one because we want to work with XSLX files, so the modern spreadsheets. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And notice that it automatically populates that here. And I believe Maven will not add those dependencies until I save it. So notice there's a little asterisk here. When I do a Control S and I save that, then Maven will automatically download in that dependency for us. And you can actually see that under, if I expand Java Resources, Libraries, and you can see it under Maven dependencies here. It's gone ahead and downloaded all that for us. And again, if you were having 100 programmers, you can make sure they were all on the same page. They were all using the latest version of the Apache POI, and it really does a lot of good stuff for us. You know, I didn't need to go search online for this tool. I didn't need to do anything. It's all right here in-house for us in Eclipse. Last thing I'm going to show you under the Maven is you can actually look at the raw XML. If you click on the pom.xml file, you can see it's gone ahead and it's actually added that dependency for us right here. And so you can actually type those in if you want to and save the file, and it should bring those in for you. Now again, using Maven, sometimes Maven gets out of sync. where you may need to actually try to refresh the Maven dependencies. Maybe it doesn't download those automatically for you. If that's the case, give it a try, do your best. If you run into some issues there getting those resources downloaded, definitely let me know. Again, just like using and getting Tomcat running over here, I expect this to go well for about 90% of people, and then the other 10% I expect there to be just random issues. And so definitely let me know if you have any issues with that. So again, you could use Maven to manage all kinds of dependencies. Really, that's it. It's as easy as creating a new dynamic web project, right-clicking, configuring as a Maven project in the configure menu, and that's it, and you're ready to go with Maven. There is other ways of skinning this cat. Again, there's like 10 different ways. You could certainly do new, and I think you could actually do Maven. You could create a new Maven project. I don't like to do it that way. I like to start with a dynamic web project and then convert that web project to Maven. But you could do it the other way. So anyway, that's getting configured with Maven. In the next video, we'll take a look at actually using that Apache POI library. Definitely let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.